tighter!
Is she to breathe, Mama?
I was able to squeeze my waist into the size of an orange and a half when I was Prudence's age. Your sister shall do this.
Bridgerton, conceived from a brilliant adaptation of the romance novels of Julia Quinn, with a spotlight on Bridgerton's siblings finding true love. Set in the Regency-era London in 1813, Shonda Rhimes is taking us back straight into the period drama series through the high society life in London, with the entire cast in London Regency clothes, with this aristocratic Bridgerton family. This drama turned out to be a blockbuster hit with more than 63 million people tuning in since it was aired at Christmas. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 Bridgerton bloopers that are even better than the show. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Celeb Mania. Make sure you stay until number 1, as you don't want to miss the magical and mystical fantasy story of the Regency era, which can take you on a ride all along the series of bloopers. Stay tight and enjoy the ride. Number 10. Yellow Parking Lines. Bridgerton is a 19th century period drama set in the year 1813. The scenes were shot at the Royal Crescent, one of Bath's most iconic landmarks, which is a perfect example of the Georgian architecture. This impressive landmark is arranged around a perfect lawn overlooking Royal Victoria Park. In the first episode of this series, we see a horse-drawn carriage turning a corner on a cobblestone road. It seemed perfect for a series set in the 1800s, but the road had yellow lines painted on it on one side, which took us directly from 1800s to the current century, both in a single frame. One would wonder if the horse carriage needed the yellow lines in those days. The yellow parking lines on the roads seemed to be a historical blunder, of all of which was so evident for anyone to catch it on screen, especially in the first episode. The yellow lines indicate that drivers should never wait on this section between the times given on nearby signs, and these did not exist until 1950s. With the current technology in place, how difficult was it to erase the line or paint it black, one would imagine, before airing it on Netflix? Number 9. Manhole cover and electric street lamp. Another blooper. We couldn't but stop noticing a manhole cover under the feet of Penelope Featherington and Eloise Bridgerton as they stroll about the town. Not just this, viewers also noticed the electric street lamp which stood looking down in 1813 England. Manhole covers and electric street lamps did not exist in that era. Unbelievable. They chose to have both in that very same episode. This episode took us about 65 years into the future. Number 8. Stiletto Shoes. Now this is getting interesting. We just can't get our head around to these facts. They actually had stiletto shoes in a few scenes. This really got us thinking and left most viewers confused and distracted. Stilettos were first developed in the 1950s, even though it proved to be a trouble while walking. And yes, they are still popular until today. Regency-era women wore flat, delicate shoes, something similar to ballet slippers, which were mainly worn in the evenings or indoors, and fashionable women wore that flat-soled half boots for almost every occasion. Number 7. Zip-up boots. Grapes and awkwardness. Along all those pretty dresses and crushing corsets, they decided to have these zip-up riding boots, which didn't even exist then. The zip-up riding boots just gained popularity over the last few years. We must admit Simon Basset, Duke of Hastings, looked handsome in those boots, so we guess they decided to have it anyway for the viewers to enjoy. In one scene there was this seedless grapes that was used in a fruit bowl. There were no seedless grapes then. Seeded ones would have been more authentic. In another episode, just as the viewers were so excited to see that Daphne Bridgerton and Simon Basset together, Daphne is having a made-up romance with Duke Simon Basset, which was a part of her plan to find a suitor during the matchmaking season. It ended up in rather an awkward scene where the viewers had to deal with an uncomfortable scene where the Duke is explaining the art of satisfying oneself. How on earth could anyone imagine a Duke to be speaking to this young and naive Daphne? However, women in that era weren't encouraged to have such conversations or explore their own bodies for pleasure. Number 6. Some things never existed. Neon floral prints or neon floral printed dresses. Such colors did not even exist then. No wonder the other period dramas never looked so bright and colorful like the Bridgerton series. Many viewers spotted posters of the Primark stores hanging in the window in one scene. How could they not notice this before airing it on Netflix? Primark is an Irish retail chain founded in 1969, having 188 stores in the UK, which is quite popular for its low prices. Maybe it wouldn't have hurt us so much if it were Marks & Spencer in the place of Primark. This, we think, was a blunder of modern times in a drama series. Number 5. Cleavage. Daphne Bridgerton, eldest daughter of the aristocratic Bridgerton family, hopes to find a true love in the marriage market in the backdrop of her older brother ruling out potential suitors, and the mysterious Lady Whistledown, high society gossip columnist. Let's look at the controversial subject here, showing the cleavage. Could the neckline go below? This is a most daunting question to most of the women out there. In the Bridgerton series, one could almost see half the breast, and the dresses seem to be designed to make the breasts larger. During the Georgian and Regency eras, the necklines were deep and wide with pushed-up breasts. They were designed to look bigger instead, just higher than their natural place. Women would wear a big neck handkerchief and a light fabric over their shoulders, or could add a ruffle or trim at the neckline of the dress, but nothing like what we see in the Bridgerton series. For some, it's a treat to the eyes. Number 4. Corsets. In one of the episodes, Prudence bends forward to catch her breath, which looked like she was in pain as the maid pulled the laces of her corset tighter. Lady Featherington says, "I was able to squeeze my waist into the size of an orange and a half when I was Prudence's age." This entire dressing up scene has been made to look painful and to have a scene which says, "Tighter, tighter," left us wonder what women's rights were in that era. We can recall similar scenes from various period movies like Gone with the Wind, where Scarlett O'Hara says corsets must be tight. In Outlander, Mrs. Fitzgibbons laces Claire, and in Titanic, Rose being laced into a corset while having an important discussion with her mother. Corsets were never laced up that tightly as depicted in Bridgerton. Instead, they used pads or hoops to give themselves a wider shape below the waist, which in turn made the waist look narrower. This explanation gives us some relief. Number 3. The white wedding dress. In one of the episodes, we were a little amused by Daphne Bridgerton's white wedding dress. Daphne's wedding with the Duke of Hastings was a beautiful moment for all the viewers. Daphne wore a lovely soft white open embroidered gown, which looked romantic for the occasion. The white gown is a little too modern for us to imagine, as the tradition of wearing a white wedding dress was not the norm during that period. It became a thing only after Queen Victoria got married in 1840. Number 2. Cigarettes then. In this scene, we see Eloise Bridgerton and her brother Benedict smoking in the garden in the middle of the night, and he lights the cigarette with a lighter, while they are having a candid and intimate conversation. This can't be right, as tobacco was used in pipes or cigars, or maybe rolled them up, and cigarettes came into being only in the early 19th century, so Eloise could not have had her hand on cigarettes yet, and can't have been a chain smoker either. Number 1. Black Royalty and Black Queen. Viewers were more than surprised to see that Queen Charlotte was black, and to imagine a black royal family was more like a fantasy story coming alive. To imagine the blacks wore pretty dresses and had this humongous wealth, ball gowns and sprawling ancestral estates is quite unbelievable. For the period, Lady Violet Bridgerton and Lady Portia Featherington are among the mothers presenting their marriageable daughters to Queen Charlotte for approval. And just when we started to see it, a naive beauty Daphne Bridgerton bumps into the most eligible bachelor in town, the Duke of Hastings, Simon Basset, at a ball, and they don't get along well with each other. Guess we all know here that they are made for each other. With the world still acting indifferent to people of different color, however, in Bridgerton we see a perfect blend of black and white high society people who dress up, attend the fancy parties, and a white girl falls in love with a black boy, and they're married. Peace. While you're here, go ahead and click on one of these 2 videos on your screen. Also, please subscribe to our channel if you liked our videos. We'll see you there.